off we go.
Hey, this is my sports coaching presentation. Basically, these are the roles of a sports coach. Role model's the first one I put down. A sports coach must act as a role model towards their team. This shows that he or she is professional and she or he knows what to do. It also motivates the team around a bit, as they will look up to the coach for guidance and inspiration. One main area where you will use this is when you're a coach at more lower level, because the children may need more guidance and demonstration rather than the teams who are upper class or elite level, because they might already have a role model, and that role model might not necessarily be you as the coach, it might be someone else, someone different. So as a lower coaching level, you may need to be even more of a role model to put a bit more motivation in the team for you. The second point is a manager, a role of the manager. A coach will have to manage the team, making sure they are on point pre-game or in training. They will have to be strict and firm at times, making the team aware of their commands and their rules. They will keep the team in check and will plan ahead. And this role is mainly used in all levels, basically. You don't have to be just a lower level manager or higher elite manager. A manager is in all round, so you have to manage your team whether they are low or elite level. Doesn't matter. The third point is advisor. The coach will give feedback and advice towards the team or a certain individual in the team. This is to help them develop or speak on a certain skill or verbal observation on their performance. This will be used in all levels rather than just lower levels or elite levels. This will be all levels, because in all levels you have to be advised, you have to give advice back, you have to give feedback back. You have to motivate the team a bit, you have to make them stronger with your advice, you have to give them critical advice, which constructive advice as well. The coach has to also be a friend, which is my fourth point. This is a good role as your team's behaviour may bounce off yours. And in order to be a team, the team must all get along and work together. And by being a friend to the team, they may feel safe around you. In some cases, they may ask advice from you. That also links into advice. May ask advice from you individually, whether it might be personal or skill related. And again, this is used in all levels, but it will benefit more at lower levels and grassroots levels, as kids and toddlers will learn better and participate better around someone they find friendly, someone they get along with, rather than elite levels, because elite levels you could be a different coach at elite level, but it'll be better as a friend at lower level, as the children might go around that. The fifth point is educator. The coach must have a good amount of knowledge in his or her sports, and this benefits whether people are struggling or may also want to develop their knowledge, and you can help them with this. And also you'll be educating your team as well, and helping them gain knowledge and understanding certain things they may have been previously struggling on. And again, this is used at all levels. More later stage, e.g. participation or performance level, it will help more at these levels, at these stages where the team will be more getting into their sport, and where they will have more open questions to ask about their sports rather than at lower levels, because at lower levels they might just want to get stuck in the sport, and at elite level they might have a good knowledge on that sport, so performance and participation level is better. And finally, got leader is one of my points. A coach has to also be a leader. He also has to lead the session and has to show that he is in charge. This is a good earning your participation and respect and keeping control of the class. And again, you will be acting professionally, and people will look up to you when you're leading, and listen to you and obey every command. This is used at all levels. But lower levels and participation levels would benefit more, as if you do not show that you're in control or keep your team/class in line, they will lose faith in you, or they'll just lose interest in the sport altogether, or just start messing around in your class. So you must show that you're a good leader. These are the responsibilities of a coach, and the first point I got, which is must be one of the most important responsibility a coach needs, is health and safety. The coach must be aware of the basics and of health and safety. He must make sure participants are safe in the session, and there are no hazards within the session or the venue that can cause risk. They must make sure it is a safe environment for them and the class and must make sure that everything's safe for them in the class and nothing happens, like no dangers there in class and no risk. And if people do, and he has to do this to prevent injury, and this also helps you. Where, say if your class or participation like gets an injury within the team, you must react quick so you know what you are doing, and this is crucial at all stages, at all levels, all ability age groups. It doesn't matter what level you are, you must have a basic knowledge of health and safety in order to prevent. You also have to look over the venue and make sure everything's safe. The second point I got for responsibility is technical and tactical. A good coach will have good technical and tactical awareness of the game and will therefore improve their team's ability with these ideas and plans, e.g. within a game situation. You will also have to be smart with your decisions as well. You have to be thinking mentally as well as physically. Coaches will improve their players' technical awareness in order to improve their game. This can be used, this will mainly be used at participation and performance level, but mostly at elite level, as at this stage you are beginning to use your brain in more game situation and you are beginning to be more focused, focused mentally. There also a responsibility of a coach. They have to have good knowledge. Similar to an educator as a role, this is making sure your team is mentally prepared as well as physically, also to pass on knowledge in order to develop their mental skills and improve their knowledge so they can start thinking smarter within a game situation. This is at all levels. Sometimes knowledge doesn't have to just be about the game, but also techniques of a skill or set piece, even a drill and or exercise. So that's good. This is an important responsibility of the coach as well. I put down equal opportunities. This is making sure everyone's chance to get onto a team is equal and no individual is favoured over or above another. This can lose your players as well as lose your respect. The coach should be supportive of all his players and not just a certain individual. And this is used by coaches at all levels, and this is an important responsibility as well, as it shows that you are a kind of considerate coach. You are fair at giving everybody a chance and not just basically just like supporting one person, because other people might be feeling left out if you do that. So you must make sure to give equal opportunities. A good responsibility to have as well is communication. This is an important responsibility all coaches at all levels should have, as coaches are introducing and giving instruction and feedback. A coach will need to use their voice in order to project their messages across their pupils, and they must be loud and clear when doing this. Also, positioning is important when communicating across, as coaches will want to face their pupils rather than facing their backs. They must be aware of their positioning and how large the group is. So if you've got a bigger space, you might want to put the group in more a bit so you can listen to open voice. If you're high pitched or you got a loud voice that can reach across the room, you can do that. But it'll be better if you know when you're positioning yourself, so you're more aware of if people can hear you or not. Another one will be organisation responsibility. Another important responsibility, a coach will have to be well organised and well prepared when it comes to taking a session. This also shows a professional at work and tells others you are in control as well. This also links in with the role of a manager, as you will have to manage the session plans and manage the session itself, making sure all participants are there and everything is set up ready for the session to take part. This will again be used at all levels, organising projects, schemes, maybe games. This will be used at all levels. No coach is different. This will Moving on, time management is also an important responsibility. You need to make sure you are early in order to set up the session, make sure all participants are also on time. You have to be aware of the duration of a drill or the exercise, and even the session itself, how long is it going to take, what are the resting times, what time is it going to start, when is the best time to start. You have to be well good at time management. Also a responsibility for problem solving. A good coach must be good at problem solving and noticing when a problem occurs. This is knowing how to prevent a problem from occurring or developing, and coaching will have to know how to read off if a problem does occur, how it will affect the team and at times their performance. This is mostly used by elite coaches and performance coaches as they will try to lead their team towards success problem-free, and they are, at that level they will now have to prevent more problems from occurring or stop them from developing. And if a problem does develop, how quick can they react to it? Say, how quick can they make it disappear again, and if they got the knowledge to make sure that problem doesn't happen again. Another one will be analysing and evaluating. This is mostly used by coaches at elite level and some performance, as they will often evaluate the team's performance by analysing on a certain individual or the team itself. And at times this is a video they're analysing a video, give constructive feedback and detailed feedback. That's what the evaluation is. And the faults. From this they can work on how to get rid of any problems or anything affecting them. And another point is adapting. But there's two different adapting. The first one I'm talking about is adapting a lesson when you're struggling. Basically, you've planned out a session for a duration of time, and participants already gathered the skill they need to, and you want to develop, and you want to adapt, and you want to include harder drills for them. This is having the responsibility to adapt. Basically, it's kind of a skill as well if you add on to it. And knowing these coaches drill to the participants finishing a skill or drill earlier, you can adapt to the lesson well, so you won't just be standing there while participants are getting bored out of their minds. You'll know how to drag upon it, and it's best if you plan over your duration, because that will also give you a few ideas on how to adapt it. Skills of a sports coach, moving on to skills. Instructing and explaining is a good skill. A coach will need to identify key points of a certain skill / technique, and will get players engaged in feedback and gain further attention when explaining the techniques more. At times, it helps giving knowledge when a coach is asking open questions in order to see what the participants are learning, and if they are learning correctly, or just to give them a nudge onto the correct response rather than the incorrect response. That's the explaining part of it. My next point is demonstrations. Providing demonstrations helps athletes / participants observe how the technique is done, and by using perfect models and other participants demonstrating, they can also motivate and give a bit of confidence to certain people. Demonstrations are a good way for participants to analyse and take away key points in order for them to do this themselves. And basically these skills will be used at all levels as well. My next point is motivating. A good coach can help their team / class gain confidence with a certain skill or technique, or help them improve. And by using motivation and constructive feedback, participants will gain confidence and reassurance, and this will help them try harder. And in lower levels, coach can maybe try a bit harder to maybe get some good, detailed, constructive feedback off you. Obviously, they won't know this, but when they try harder, say if you give them good feedback, they will try to improve that, try to better upon the things they did the most, and this will basically work at all levels, motivating needs. Another point, and not to be This is the different. This is the different adapting I was on about to the previous one. This is adapting your behaviour. Different coaches at different levels will use some of these roles and responsibilities more than others as a coach. Will have to adapt their behaviour towards a certain age group or level / ability. So this is adapting your behaviour rather than adapting the lesson. This is adapting, say like, if you're teaching a lower level and you're an all-level coach, if you're teaching a lower level rather than higher elite level or participant level, you might try to adapt your behaviour, you may try to adapt your language and become more friendly and more like relaxed and more chilled and cooled out. These are just this is basically a reference to a guy called B. Woods. In 1998, he identified 4 styles of coaching: command style, recall style, problem solving style, and guiding and discovery. And that's just a reference to my coaching styles now, which I'm going upon. For the coaching styles, you've got authoritarian. This a coach makes all the decisions with any or little input from the athletes / participants. They are just there to learn and follow instructions, basically. This is normally described as quite a firm, strict and serious coach, as they are disciplined with their sessions, but besides this, they are very professional and well organised in their work, and they have an aim or goal set for the end of the session. This is mostly used at higher and middle level rather than lower level, so elite level, some case of performance level rather than grassroots or participation level, as this might come across some kids as scary or intimidating and will not get them engaged well. But at other levels, athletes or participants may be used to this style of coaching, and obviously they're going to show some respect when they get used to this style of coaching. And at the end of the day, the decisions all made by the coach, and basically he will stop you when he wants to. It's his lesson. He'll make sure that you're aware of that. Moving on, the second point, the second coaching style is autocratic. The coach will identify key points of the session and tell participants what to do, and explains participants as well as asking open questions to participants, expecting the right answers back, telling participants the aim and objectives of the session, and asking further questions, making sure athletes understand them and what they are doing. This is used at high level as well as rather than lower level, as they will expect their participants to retrieve knowledge and also give some ideas back. But overall, it's the coach that makes the final decision and the final words, and this again, he'll be very strict and serious at points, and he'll ask more open questions, making sure that his team has a good knowledge of the skill and what technique they are using. And the last point is democratic. They're similar to autocratic as well. They will outline objectives of sessions and training requirements to participants, making athletes have a brainstorm to identify key points and explore certain solutions. Athletes make all the decisions on what to do and how to do it, so the coach can see what they have learned from the previous session, and if they know what they are doing in this session. This will be used at high level as well, as athletes will have to have a good knowledge of what they are doing, and therefore will try to improve it themselves rather than the coach trying to stick in. So the main difference is autocratic. The coach will have the last say on the skill and the drills they are doing, but democratic, the coach will give a chance for the participants to have the say on the skill or the technique, what they are doing, and if the coach is pleased with how much knowledge they have on that skill, he will let them go along. So basically they will take the session themselves. And finally, these are my coaching sessions evaluations. Session 1, I did badminton, I did a backhand drive, took place at Fenton Minor, delivered it on the 29th of November at around 3 o'clock, and duration was 35 minutes. My peer evaluation, what he put, things I did well and strengths. I checked for injuries before the session, made a clear purpose of the session, made sure participants did not collect equipment until required. I was clear and confident, good one-on-one coaching, used a few coaching points and good communication as well, positioning myself well. within that. Like I said, basically what my areas of improvement or weaknesses were. My research was needed on the skill. It was more a combination of backhand clear / drive, focus on the purpose of the shot and clearly defined coaching points. Was not too confident when demonstrating required techniques. And that was my peer evaluation. My evaluation for this session, what I thought I did well in my strengths. I had good communication skills and I was in control, loud and clear voice and good positioning of my body, which was good. Quick, clear and fast demonstrations. So I tried to make participants get into the next drill rather than just sticking around and getting bored out of their minds. I checked for injuries, which obviously you have to do. Made sure venue was safe, cleared aims and objectives. Used my space very well because there was like 3 badminton courts and I tried to space them out as well as I could. I asked questions to get back some knowledge. But my areas of improvements or what I thought my weaknesses were. I could have done my research and better on the skill I used, as my skill wasn't too basically I was on the right path, but my skill wasn't right up to date. So basically my demonstrations weren't accurate, as that links in with the research, because the skill wasn't the correct skill I was using. It was in some respects, but it wasn't the full direct, and I could have looked this up, gave more confidence when demonstrating that technique, because even I thought that skill might have been incorrect. I wasn't too confident when I was giving back the technique. Could have maybe asked others to give that technique for me, or basically this is my second coaching session. I did basketball and I did shooting, and it took place at Fenton Manor. Delivered it on 10th of December 2013. It's around 10:30 AM. It lasted around 40 minutes, the duration, and this was the peer evaluation of what he thought I did well and what he thought my strengths were. Again, I had good communications, good demonstrations and coaching points of techniques, good positioning of my body, which links in with communication, professional appearance, constructive feedback to most individuals, introduced myself in good one-on-one coaching and pulled someone to the other side as well, to give them a bit more constructive feedback on theirs. What he thought my areas of improvements were in my peer. I had no warm-up, I didn't do warm-up, didn't use participations names, so rather than just saying if there was a Sam in my class, rather than just saying hey Sam, I didn't use the guy's name, so I put can you give us that ball please, and rather I could have used name more. Didn't ask for feedback, basically I didn't ask any open questions, which I could have done to help them gain knowledge as well, and see what they are learning during the session. I didn't offer encouragement, which I could have done. Didn't differentiate skills based on ability, so basically I made everyone just work together. And some players, I did 3 shots. I did just a free throw, normal shot. I did a jump shot, and I did a back jump shot, jump back shot. And basically, everyone with the same ability was working together. I didn't differentiate ability, so if someone was on the jump back shot, they would have still been in the same group as the one doing the free throw. I could have maybe moved it around more. I made participants wait around, as my techniques were quite long, as none of them knew how to play basketball and none of them had knowledge of basketball, so I had to do that. Activities / drills were repetitive, as I made them just go back, just go back, shoot at the basketball net in a line, and basically just use different shots. I could have added more competition side to it rather than anything else, and not all participants were engaged as well. there was two people there. I dragged one to the side, and then gave him a bit of one-on-one coaching to myself, but there was also a girl there who didn't like take part in it at all, and I could have dragged her to the side as well, which could have done. This was my evaluation, that was the peer evaluation. This is what I did well and what I think my strengths were. I introduced myself, I was clear and had good communication. I gave constructive feedback and motivation. I identified key points and gave good demonstrations. Introduced the lesson aims and objectives, and I looked professional at it. My areas of improvement, and I thought my weakness was where obviously I should have started with a warm-up, and in any session I was given I should start with a warm-up, a little pulse raiser, a little getting warmed up, to like getting relaxed a bit, get the muscle tension flowing a bit. Could have used different skills or adapt to make it more fun / enjoyable, because it was quite repetitive and I was guessing people were getting a bit bored, but I was more focused on the technique and the shooting rather than trying to make it into a game situation, because there weren't really that much game situations to put just shooting in. Could have used a game situation or think of my own game up, but I didn't, or exercise at the end to make it more fun / learn participant. I could have learned participants' names and asked open questions rather than just give them my feedback, give them my knowledge, give them feedback. I could have asked open questions and make sure they gave me some knowledge and some feedback, because even though they didn't know about basketball, they could have had a rough idea of how to or when to use that shot, rather than me just telling them when and where to use that shot, rather than just me. My evaluation summary basically. And here in this, I'm comparing the two sessions. For both sessions, I showed good strength in communication, introducing myself, checking participants, constructive feedback and one-on-one coaching, also adapting towards the level of the group, which I didn't quite mention, but in my second basketball session I had a level 2 group, and they were roughly ages 16/17, and I had to like adapt my behaviour towards them and make sure I came out as friendly towards that age group as well and their abilities as a coach. This shows I have the basics of a coach. Unfortunately, I just missed out on doing a few important and at time key stuff that will make the session more of a success. For example, I failed to do actual research on my backhand drive, and some coaching points wasn't accurate in my basketball sessions. I should have put that. Well, in my basketball sessions, I should have put in some more drills that were more productive and fun as well as skill based. Also, in my second session, I could have added game situations to separate groups based on skill levels, which I didn't do at all. And I could have learnt some names in that session. Although I looked and / acted in a professional, I still have some skills I need to develop on to be a successful coach. Because even though I have the basics of a coach, I still need to do my research, I still need to do my skills, I can probably get them more engaged within a game situation. I can maybe add my games if there wasn't no game situation. I could research there, and maybe I'll get them more engaged. And these are my references. So I've got some coaching styles from Brian Mack, and I've read an article applying for psychology of sports, and that is the end of my presentation.
Thank you.